Okay, good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us for our annual meeting today. The plan is to go through a review of some of the things that we've been doing over the past year and the things that we have planned coming up for maybe about an hour, including any Q&A. And then following that, we'll have our December board meeting, and people are welcome to stick around for that. Um, Before get into it, I just want to introduce for folks some of the people on the call as far as our board members. Um, we've got Mark Borleski, our vice president, uh, Mary Pittis, our current treasurer, Jonathan Fisher, our next treasurer in transition right now. We also have board members Douglas Oakman and Aaron Schwartz. Um, did I miss anybody? I can't see the whole list right now.
That's all the board members.
Okay,
Mike Turcotte is on vacation in Mexico, and Wayne Monger, our board secretary, is in the process of logging into the meeting. He'll be here in a few minutes, Paul.
yeah, okay. Oops. Um, so here's our general agenda for today. Planning to go over a quick review of our mission statement, talk about the status of our operating agreement with state parks, and then do some program reports, some of the different activities that we have going on. Then we'll talk about events, and then talk to you about our volunteer of the year for 2024. And then we'll have some open discussion before we transition to our board of directors meeting. So here's our mission statement for Cascade Rail Foundation. Uh, Basically, it's to preserve uh, what's left of the Milwaukee Road, specifically in Washington State, and to tell the story of the railroad, um, and to make sure that the Milwaukee Road is remembered. And one of our key ways of doing that is operating South Cleom Rail Yard in partnership with Washington State Parks. Um, we have had a 20-year agreement since 2004, and that expired at the end of October. So we're on a month-to-month basis right now as we wrap up negotiating a new agreement with state parks. The new agreement will be pretty similar to the last one we had. It'll only be a 5-year term because that's what Parks is doing right now for organizations like us. Um, but we expect to continue to be operating the rail yard much as we have been over the past 20 years. So one of our big focus areas this past year has been the depot, specifically the old Beanery Cafe area that had been a Smokey's Barbecue restaurant until the end of last year. Been putting a lot of work into cleaning that space, doing some repair and restoration work to that area. It's been involved a lot of deep cleaning and painting, a combination of volunteer and professional efforts to get that space back into good shape so we can bring in another tenant. The big thing that we have next on our plate is replacing the floor. That should happen here in the next couple months. That'll be about a $10,000 project. And once we have that new floor in place, I think we'll be in pretty good shape to start searching for a new tenant. Um, don't know who that'll be. We've had a couple leads that are aware of, but we'll be kind of pounding the pavement to look for them next year. One thing that we do know is that the tenant will be providing some sort of service useful to trail users. That's one of the key things for state parks. Also important for us. So we'll have some sort of outward-facing presence. So stay tuned on that. This is a big deal for us because the rent from the space has been key source of income for our organization over the past 10, 15 years here. And so we're looking forward to getting that back up and running. Of course, the other part of the depot is the kind of the museum interpretive area. We've been continuing to try to open that space on Saturday afternoons, basically in the kind of the tourist travel season between May and September. Last year we hosted 77 visitors who signed the guest book. That's down from more than 200 back in 2023. So I'm sure that not having that restaurant space open has had an effect on our visitor count. But we can always use more docents, hosts to open that space for visitors. So it's a pretty simple job, and we can train you very easily. But very important for us to be able to get people in and kind of see what's in there and be able to learn more about the history of the railroad and the rail yard itself. So if you're interested in potentially doing that work, get in touch with us. We have a contact page on our website. We'll share that link at the end of the presentation. Out in the rail yard, one thing we're looking forward to next year is replacement of the interpretive signs. They've been out there nearly 20 years, exposed to the elements, and they're pretty worn and faded, as you can probably see in that photo of the substation interpretive sign. State Parks is ordering those replacements, and we anticipate they'll be installed in the spring. So by the time the weather gets nice, we should have some new signs in the rail yard. And there on the slide, you can see the map of the interpretive trail and the different signs that we have out there. So these are very important because, of course, we can't have the depot open all the time. And whenever the park's open, the interpretive trail's open. And this is a great way for people to learn a little bit about the history while they visit the rail yard. Another big focus of us the past couple of years has been the station sign project led by our Vice President, Mark Borleski. So far, we've installed 24 signs between Boylston and the Idaho border. This past year, we installed 3 of them, Malden, Rosalia, and Swan. At Malden, we did a little dedication to the past Milwaukee Road employees who made Malden their home, as well as the people who were victims of the big fire there a couple of years ago. And we presented a certificate to the mayor acknowledging all that. This year, we're planning to install 16 signs that we've received permission from state parks to do. We're planning to do that towards the end of May and June, with June being the ones kind of up closer to Snoqualmie Pass once the weather gets a little bit better out there. We have requested permission to install 7 additional signs. And so those are pending approval. So once we get those approved, we can think about scheduling those. So this year will be a very busy year. So you can sponsor a sign for $500, which would be a big help. I'm sure Mark could probably maybe use another couple of people on the volunteer crew installing signs. So please get in touch if you're interested in supporting this project. Again, we have our contact page on the website, which we'll be sharing later. Another project we have out on the trail is the signal project. We're planning to restore and relocate a signal that was located at Hillcrest on the trail, and move that to Ralston. Will be a little more visible and accessible to people. You see, we've had some progress painting and restoring the components. We don't have a mechanism yet. I believe we're missing a couple parts, that we'd like to have for that restoration. Um, but there is some rehab work that needs to happen at Ralston on the signal footing out there before the signal can be installed. But we have been making progress on that, and our board member, Mike Turcott, has been taking the lead on that. So hopefully we'll make some more progress on that this year. Of course, one of our other big projects is the 5057 project, and that's the restoration of Milwaukee Road U25B 5057 and relocation of that to the South Cleon Rail Yard as a long-term display. Unfortunately, progress has been glacial past few years, including this past year. We do have an updated estimate on the cost of the cosmetic restoration, which we now anticipate to cost about $150,000. That was up from, I think, about $40,000 when we originally moved it up to the Ponderay Valley Railroad Shop in Usk, Washington, where it's been stored ever since. That estimate includes $26,000 for a high-quality industrial paint job that should last a long time. As you can see in the photo, we have started the work several years ago with work on the cab, but we've been having trouble getting into the space, into the shop there at POA because they've been extremely busy with some big contracts, including one that they're working on right now. But we continue to stay in touch with them. We contact them every quarter, at least at a minimum, to check in with them to see how they're doing, to see if there might be an opening, so they're not forgetting about us. They are planning to expand the shop up there, which could help. They'll also need more employees, which they've been having trouble retaining. But we're continuing to bird dog that and work on getting that into the shop. Since the estimate went up, we don't have enough money on hand to finish that work. Currently, we have $85,000 set aside for it. So we're well short of the $150,000 needed. We haven't been actively fundraising on that just because we haven't had any progress to show for those past donations in the past few years. But once we can start moving forward on this, we'll be actively fundraising again and looking for support. But always accepting donations if people would care to help us with that. In the meantime, we've been brainstorming what we might do once we get the locomotive restored, because we'll still have a lot of fundraising to do for the move to Cle Elum, which will include the very expensive move between the railhead on BNSF at or near Cle Elum to the South Cle Elum Rail Yard. So we've been brainstorming that. Too soon to talk about that, just because we've got a fair amount of time before that happens. So, but we are thinking about that and keeping an eye on potential opportunities. Another area for us is our archival collections. We collect and hold Milwaukee Road archival materials with a focus on Lines West, but we do have some overall system materials. We keep our collections at the Pacific Northwest Railroad Archive in Burien, near SeaTac Airport. And we're one of, I think it's 6 now, rail history nonprofit organizations that are part of the PNA organization. The Friends of Burlington Northern Railroad have just recently joined. In addition to the Great Northern Society, the Northern Pacific Society, the Spokane, Portland, and Seattle Railroad Historical Group, and also the Boeing and Place Model Railroad Club is in the facility. Being a member of PNRA is a great benefit to us. It's a secure climate control facility full of fairly new computers and scanners, useful for processing archival materials, including specialized scan sliders and large format scanner. I am the representative to the PNRA board for Cascade Rail Foundation. I have a 2-year term, and that goes through October of 2025. As far as our work on the archival collections, we have volunteers who are organizing and digitizing materials. There are volunteer work days currently scheduled on Tuesdays and Saturdays. I believe also Thursdays now. So actually 3 days a week, the archive is open for volunteers. And so far we've inventoried 298 boxes. And that's an increase of 46 boxes this year. Additional boxes continue to come in. I'll be talking more about that in a minute. So our current work is focused on some of these new collections that are coming in to get that inventory expanded, which makes it a lot easier for us to find materials when people ask questions. To help us share the materials that we do have a online digital library of reference materials and photos at research.milwaukeeelectric.org. This site is based on some fairly old software. It's been fairly difficult for us to use and customize. We're in the process of developing a replacement. So we're kind of kicking the tires on a different software for that, and hope to be able to roll something out in this upcoming year. PNRA is also working on a Railroad Archives online catalog, and we plan to participate in that as well with our materials. But we're excited to hopefully get some more stuff out for people to see. Right now, we've got a lot of interesting stuff on there as it is. Right-of-way maps for Washington and a few other places. We have quite a few employee timetables up there, some seniority lists, some train lists from the 70s, and as well as some selections of photos from our collections, representing a very, very small sample of what we have available. So as we're developing our new site, and if you have some ideas about features and types of content that you're most interested in having up there, please get in touch with us and let us know. I'm going to talk a little bit about some of the new material that's come in this past year. We've had some fairly interesting things come through the doors. I think perhaps one of the most important of them is the J. Lenser collection, which is 22 banker boxes of Milwaukee rail materials, and as well as several artifacts that we received. In addition, a few other boxes of other railroad material came in that PNRA is taking the lead on. But this is really, really interesting material. It's really high quality information, a lot of engineering project files, electrification files. There's a lot of material on coordination with Northern Pacific and Montana. There's a big bundle of material about coordination with the Great Northern and the Everett branch. As you can see here, there's some information about the Milwaukee Rail Ski Bowl. And a very large percentage of this material is unique, probably only copy in existence type documents. And it's focused on lines west, a lot of material for Washington. So we feeling really blessed to have this, and we're going to be focused on getting this at least a box level inventory of this collection completed as soon as possible, so we can help make this accessible for research. So this is pretty neat stuff. Aaron Schwartz is taking the lead on organizing this. He's our point person for a lot of the work that's happening with our archival collections, and he's been doing a really great job. That huge inventory that I mentioned earlier, the 298 boxes, that's been one of Aaron's major focuses the past couple of years. Another interesting collection that came in this past year is slides from Don Lahr, who was a former Milwaukee Rail dispatcher. These came to us through Dan Bolliard, and we're very grateful for that. As you can see, we've started scanning that material. He took a lot of really interesting photos, mostly here in Washington. And here's a selection of them. One on the left, the Boylston, near the Boylston Tunnel. We got Black River Tower there, an accident and derailment in Tacoma. See a snow avalanche there up in the Cascades being dealt with. And lower right, a photo taken from a train passing by the station in Maringo, which is a joint UP Milwaukee facility. We're also digitizing a large collection of negatives that was assembled by John Henderson. It's on loan to us from Mike Folletti. We're very happy to be able to scan this material. There's some interesting photos here. There's a selection of them on the screen. The steam locomotive on the left, photo was taken, I believe, at Port Angeles. The U-boat. Yeah.
No, I'm sorry.
Oh.
No, yeah, I should have muted myself. My apologies.
No problem. That top photo is, you can see a U-boat up in Tacoma. And I believe the bottom photo was taken in Renton. I believe that was one of the cars that had been used to support the electrification maintenance. So we've been busy scanning that. Rick Bieber's been taking lead on scanning that material. And we're looking forward to being able to share this at some point in the near future. Now I'm going to take a few minutes to talk about events. We had a number of events this past year. Back in January, Mark Borleski did an encore presentation of his presentation about the four bridges in Washington that he had done for Bridge Days in Rosalia in fall of 23. That was one of the Zoom events sponsored by PNRA. In March, we did what we affectionately refer to as the Squiminar, which more officially was referred to as the North Olympic Coast Railroading event, which featured a number of presentations about railroad history up there on the Olympic coast of Washington. That was an in-person event up at SQUIM that we also broadcast on Zoom. Then in April and May, we had some work parties at the rail yard. And later in May, we did an encore presentation of several of the presentations that were done at SQUIM. That was an in-person event in Burien. And then in October, we had the annual Rosalia Bridge Day that Mark Borleski organizes. Upcoming this year, we've got a couple presentations that we're working on. One is a presentation with Frank Zellerhoff about Milwaukee Road operations on the Seattle waterfront in the 70s. Frank worked on the waterfront with the barges after the substations were shut down. He had been a substation operator previously. And Frank's been very helpful to us with presentations the past couple of years, sharing an incredible amount of knowledge that he has about some of these different things. So we're looking forward to hearing what he has to share with us about barge operations here in Seattle. We're also working on a presentation about the development of the Kent Auto Facility. Russ Segner um, was a Walker Road employee working in the real estate group, and he spent a lot of time working on the development of that facility. So we're looking forward to hearing his firsthand knowledge of that work. Both of those presentations we have not scheduled yet, but we're hoping to do here in maybe the first quarter, or if not the second quarter. But as soon as we can get those scheduled, we'll get those on our website and let people know about them. We also plan to have at least one work party at South Gilliam this spring that has not yet been scheduled. And that'll probably be late April or early May. And then, of course, our annual Rosalia Bridge Day in October of next year. We hope to get that date nailed down soon. That's what we have in the works right now. We may schedule other things, and we're always looking for potential presenters of Milwaukee Road history to share with us. So if you or if you know someone that has some history to share with us, get in touch. If you don't have visuals, we can probably supply them. So we're looking forward to those events coming up in this year. If you missed some of those events, the good news is that we've recorded quite a few of them. We have our own YouTube channel. Our channel name is Cascade Rail. Currently, we have 22 videos up on YouTube. This past year, we added 6 of them, including 4 from the North Olympic Coast Railroading event in Swim. We also have the broadcast of Mark Borleski's 4 Bridges presentation that was done with PNRA. And we also have the recording of our 2023 annual meeting. And of course, we plan on getting this meeting recording up on YouTube for people who were not able to attend today. And we hope to have additional recordings up on the channel next year. Hopefully we'll be able to record some of those events that we're planning. And we also have a number of other videos on hand that we need to get prepped and uploaded to our YouTube channel. So keep an eye out for announcements about those things as they get added. Historically, Cascade Rail Foundation has celebrated our volunteers with the Volunteer of the Year Award. It's been a few years since we formally not awarded that. And this year we're awarding that to Dan Brady. Dan's been a long-time Cascade Rail Foundation supporter. He was the pioneer of the original station sign project that installed signs on the trail going eastward from Cedar Falls, including the Cleon station sign that was installed in 2000. And he continues to be instrumental to our station sign project. He's been fabricating the signs that we've been installing, and signs and the posts that we've been installing on the trail, and he's also been helping with some of that work as well. So very happy to acknowledge all the great work that Dan's done with us and on behalf of preserving Milwaukee Road history. I don't know if Mark or any of the other board members would like to share any other things about Dan's work with us. Mark?
I'd just like to say that Dan really pioneered the station sign project, and he's really been instrumental in getting this going and getting this revived so that we can cover the entire Palouse to Cascades Trail. And we just really owe him a debt of gratitude, and also his wife Barb Brady has really been helpful on our project as well. And I think Dan and Barb really are wonderful folks, and I really appreciate the opportunity we have to acknowledge their contributions to the cause. Thank you.
Thanks, Mark. Yeah, this station sign project I think is very, very important for communicating the history of the railroad. I mean, really, I think it's really the primary way people are going to discover the Milwaukee Road here in Washington, and to be able to share with people the historical names of the locations on the trail that the Milwaukee Road used. I think is a really great way to introduce people to the history of the railroad, and help orient folks to kind of where they're at and the things that have happened in those locations. So a big thank you to Dan, Mark, and all the other volunteers who have been working on this really important project. This is a good time to remind people that we could always use more help. And we're looking forward to a future volunteer of the year contacting us and getting involved to help us with the projects we have underway and the projects that we would like to do. We have quite a few projects that we've identified that could really use more people power to get going on. And all sorts of skills are helpful. Yeah, here's a list of some of the different kinds of things that people can help with. I already mentioned the docents, South Cleoman, the depot, very important role, as well as help maintain the rail yard. All the work that we're doing with the archives, some of which I think can be done remotely as we move forward here. We've already mentioned the station sign project and the signal project. And there's potential for other projects that can be done. Of course, we can always use more money. So if people have skills that could be useful for grant writing, that would be important, as well as just people who are good at wrangling people and getting people organized and involved. We can use more leadership on the board of directors as well as just on individual project teams. We've got building, repair, and maintenance tasks in the rail yard that we can use help with. We can use help with publicity and outreach. And I'm sure there's a number of other things that I haven't thought of just now that we can use help with. So if you'd like to help, get in touch. If you have ideas for what you could do, bring them to us. You don't necessarily need to have a lot of expertise for some of the stuff, and we can train you to do a lot of it. But we can always use, more help. So please get in touch through our website if you'd like to join us. And here are the links to our website, including our contact page, where we have a form you can use to reach out to us. So I encourage you to go there and see what's on our website. We're posting a number of news items up there, reports on different projects. We announce events there. So visit regularly if you have the opportunity to. So I encourage you to bookmark that and drop by as often as you can. So next will be the board of directors meetings. So I'll just kind of back up to this and open things up for questions and discussion. If anyone would like to discuss something or ask about something, the floor is open. So go ahead and unmute yourself and go ahead if anyone has anything.
So Paul, a couple of admin items that have come up during your very, very excellent presentation, I thought. Very well done, very informative. Two things. First, Wayne is here, and Wayne, just so you know, we are recording the program so that you will have that. And then the other thing is Dan Bolyard joined us. Dan, you joined us right after we got done thanking you. So Paul, if you could just thank Dan, excuse me, a second time for what he did, I would appreciate it. So anyway, Paul, just thank him again.
Yeah, Dan, we mentioned the Don Lar collection of slides that you passed through to us, and we showed a few examples. Yeah, so just thanking you for thinking of us and passing that along to us so that we can share that with people.
Yeah,
So we
thanks,
really
Dan. And
appreciate that.
you joined us like a minute after Paul got done thanking you as part of his presentation. So I wanted to make sure that you knew how much we appreciated what you've done for Cascade Rail Foundation, both with this and with our past collaborations as well. So thank you very much. Do we have any other commentary from the floor? Any peanut gallery folks? I want to welcome some of our visitors. Thank you for being here. And Mary, go ahead.
Oh, I just wanted to mention the latest improvement at the Depot Interpretive Center in the Depot is the Douglas Oakman's efforts on the Morse code exhibit. It's wonderful. He's added some speakers. He's fixed a glitch in the computer, but you can go in and hear the Morse code going at the same time and read what is happening on a computer monitor. It's wonderful, and I really appreciate it. Thanks, Doug.
Congratulations to the Reverend Doctor.
Oh, it's been a joy, really, to be a host there.
And a comment in the chat from Scott. Scott, you can always come online and say hi in person. He wanted to thank everyone for the help making the MRHA RIP tracks. And looks like Colette, did you have something you wanted to add? No, I guess not. So you're certainly welcome. And welcome all the guests, by the way, that are here along with our regular board members.